Brandon Aiyuk is my favorite player of all time. What's up? Good morning. Welcome to the Best 49ers show. That's Ryan G. Hensley. I'm Grant Cohn. And, we were talking this morning, last night. Did we even do a show last week?
No.
There's not a lot going on. And this morning, I'm like, we got to do a show. The sponsors need us to do a show. The people need us to do a show. But there's not that much to talk about. We were scrounging in the depths of topics. And then, thank goodness, my favorite player of all time, Brandon Aiyuk. I wasn't checking his YouTube channel because there's not a lot going on it, but I got a DM saying, check it out. So he wrote something, and he'd been writing stuff the last few weeks. No one knows Brandon Aiyuk is the least famous person of all time. He's incredible. So we're going to get into what he said. We're going to talk about, Brock Purdy, week 1 in Seattle. First, I want to tell you about this week's sponsor, In the Cloud. Ryan, it's right up your alley, because not only is it good, but it's also delicious, and it's vegan and stuff, and they tell you all the ingredients, and it seems healthy. And I've sampled a few. I want to give you some. It's really good. My jam right now is the elderberry nighttime stuff, because I don't really sleep so good as a content creator. There's so much stress and anxiety. You know what I mean? What's my next take going to be? How am I going to say? Are people going to hate me? Are one of the players in the team going to get mad at me? So these really let me sort of ease in to dreamland, where I'm always winning, which I like.
Vegan?
So
hold on, vegan?
Yeah, they got vegan stuff. Now, they also sent me this, and it looks delicious because I like Sour Patch Kids and stuff like that, but it says to only eat 1/8 of it at a time, and I'm scared. I'm literally scared of this one. So I might give this to you for Christmas or something along the lines.
With that, sir. I throw that right. Even though shout out to In the Cloud.
The Dope Rope, Strawberry Colada. I don't know, man. I bet it's delicious, though. I bet it's here's the thing. I bet it's dangerously delicious. You know what I'm saying? So I just stick with my elderberry and keep it chill. Yeah. If you're 21 or older, now's your chance to float above the stress, because Into Cloud is giving all new customers 25% off their first order plus free shipping. Just use code COHN or click the link in the show notes to claim your discount. That's indocloud.co. Use code COHN for free shipping plus 25% off your first order. And when you order, fill out that quick little survey. It helps support the show and keeps Into Cloud sending you the good stuff. I can't read today, but I read Brandon Aiyuk stuff, man. Should we talk about should we talk about the latest?
First of all, I didn't even know he had a YouTube page until he told me this morning.
He's posted 5 videos on it, and it's usually about he made it after he got paid, and then anytime he buys a new car, he makes a video about that experience. And as someone who likes cars, I love Brandon Aiyuk's YouTube channel. I might be his biggest fan. I think he's so misunderstood. He's just a guy who likes cars, and so am I. So I'm always there, man. And today, here's what he posted this not even 2 hours ago. He said they was talking about trading me while I was off Percocets / muscle relaxers and peeing in a cup by my bed. What a sentence. Couldn't walk for 10 weeks. Ain't nobody trading for me. I love it, dude. Now, it's unclear who they is in this sentence. I'm assuming it's the 49ers that we're talking about trading. Could have been us, though. Could have been us.
Hey, man, I'm right in line with Brandon Aiyuk here. I was saying the same thing. Everyone's talking about he's going to be traded. And I was like, who is going to trade for Brandon Aiyuk right now, considering his medical condition? Not medical condition. That's a weird way of saying it. His injury, his current injury, right? I wouldn't trade for Brandon Aiyuk. Now, I feel like that's why I say this is his last year with the Niners. Niners have been trying to trade him 2 consecutive off seasons. I didn't believe they were going to be able to find a trade partner with his contract and his injury last offseason. But this season, if he comes back, shows the NFL that he's a good wide receiver again, maybe he'll make amends with the 49ers and he won't be traded. But I really think once he can show the NFL that he's a legit healthy wide receiver, he's gone.
Can we talk about that thing that you just said about making amends? Does it seem like that's about to happen?
Yeah, I feel like it's unlikely. I feel like
it's been a while. The amends seem like they should have happened by now. But here's the thing. There's more from Brandon Aiyuk. Let me just read the rest of because he's been writing on his YouTube community tab and no one's really noticed except for like 8 people. He gets like 28 likes and 10 comments. This guy is making $30 million a year. It's incredible. 2 weeks ago, he says, I'm trying to play corner for real. I love that. So it's pretty cool. So he's trying to be the next Travis Hunter. Okay. Right before that, he wrote, now this one's tough because he used emojis. So I'll try my best. He says, I need my, and then he uses like a chicken emoji, like a cock-a-doodle-doo emoji. I think he means chicken before I even think about, and then he has a person walking, and then it says through. So that might mean that he needs more money before he even does a walkthrough with the 49ers. Or he's talking about something I don't understand.
When was that one?
That was 2 weeks ago. I need my chicken before I even think about walkthrough.
I feel like I need my money before I come through. Maybe he's talking about people wanting to interview him, appearances.
Possible.
You know?
I was thinking there's a guy walking and then it says through, so maybe he's talking about like walkthrough and practice, but I admit that's a stretch. I don't actually know that.
Yeah. Yeah, Brandon.
And that's what I love about Brandon Aiyuk, man. It's infinite interpretation. It's like the Bible, man. You could get people to do this their whole lives.
Let me ask you this. Besides Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, besides quarterback, non-quarterbacks, take quarterbacks out of the picture, who has provided more content for the Grant Cohn besides
Brandon Aiyuk? It's always when it's like the slowest time of the year. It's like, what are we going to talk about today? Brandon's like, I got you. I'm taking one for the team. Everyone hates me, but I'm doing this for you, Grant. And you're going to criticize me and wag your finger and tell me that I shouldn't do this. I'm not doing that today, man. Brandon, I'm just so grateful and I'm enjoying this. And there's more. There's more. Yeah. He said 3 weeks ago, they want to play cool now. Nah, fuck no. I want that smoke still. And again, it's always a mysterious they, which I appreciate, but it doesn't seem like whoever he's mad at, I don't think he's ever going to let it go.
Doesn't sound like it. It sounds like he's the kind of guy to hold a chip on his shoulder. So, yeah, that's why I'm not so sure that the relationship is ever going to be great here with the 49ers. And that's why I expect after 2 years of them trying to trade him, one time trying to trade him while, according to Brandon Aiyuk, he's off Percocets and can't walk, they tried to trade him this coming off season if he's healthy and he can show the NFL he's back. I think they get it done.
You know who he kind of reminds me of? Just in terms of his temperament? Kevin Durant. In a sense. Because, like, why are you mad all the time? What are you upset about all the time, dude? Like, you got all the money you wanted. You're mad at your own team. Where do you want to go? Can you ever be happy? Are you ruining your own legacy? Are you just going to bounce around the league and is no fan base going to really like you? You're really alienating yourself with Niner fans for no good reason. They loved you. Ryan loved you. I loved you. I'm not even a Niner fan. And now it's like, if you left, people be like, okay, all right. And your next team isn't going to love you the way Niner fans would have because you're just pretty much a mercenary at this point. And again, I just don't see why you're so unsatisfied. And that's always been my take with Durant. Like, dude, you have everything. What's the problem?
Yeah, he was one of my favorite 49ers. And then he went into the offseason where he was negotiating for his contract. And even through that, I was defending him like he's young, he's mad, he's this, he's that. Then just continues. You know, I wish him the best. The KD comparison does kind of make sense. KD was just also traded to the Rockets, and he was like super happy about it. But how long is that going to last is the feeling you get.
He's also 37. Maybe when Brandon Aiyuk's 37, he'll be really grateful to be on a team. If he
is I mean, and do you really believe KD will be happy this time next year? Odds are
no.
Probably not. Yeah.
No. So. And here's the thing about KD before we move on. The Rockets won't care about him when he retires. The Warriors won't care about him when he retires. Fans. And the Thunder won't. Like, he's not attached to any franchise. And I think that he's going to regret that when he's 50 or 60 years old. But that's his problem. And I think that's where Aiyuk's going to go. That's what's going on with Debo. And I think one of the things that makes Kittle kind of smart is that if he had any issues with the organization, he kept it private so that the fans could believe in the fantasy and that he can be an all-time, beloved player.
Yeah, he's hard to deal with, man. KD. And I saw a tweet. Speaking of all my tweets since November just got erased this morning. I got hacked somehow, but that's another.
It went back to November. Damn.
All the way to November. But because and what pisses me off about that is all my great predictions during this off season, I have no receipt of them anymore, and they all came true.
Dude, why do you think Elon did that to you, dude?
He feels threatened.
Threatened.
Feels threatened.
Yeah. Dude, I think it's the political tweaks the last few days. They've been too good.
It might be, man. Honestly, it might be. I don't know.
Might be the next president, man. You've been speaking some way too much truth out there. They don't want, dude. I'm just saying.
I just need some funders.
I'm just saying, man. No, I've never seen people bring people together like you have before, man. Speaking comments, cross party lines, baby.
Well, what I was gonna say is I saw this tweet, right? It showed Kevin Durant in every color jersey on the rainbow, and they said he's the first player to complete the rainbow.
That's what's up.
Yeah,
that's what he's going for.
Yeah,
joke's on you, Ryan. You didn't see the vision.
Right.
All right, let's talk about Brock Purdy for a little bit. Brandon, thank you very much. Keep doing it. Don't ever be satisfied. Keep that chip on your shoulder, and don't ever give away what you're talking about either. Don't be too explicit about why you're upset or who you're talking about, because the fun is not knowing, right?
Agreed.
The fun is not knowing, because he always has plausible deniability. I wasn't talking about the 49ers. I might love playing here or not. Okay. Brock Purdy, one of the greatest draft picks of all time. The scouts just didn't get it with Brock Purdy. Or did they? I think it'd be fun 3 years later, now that he's the 7th highest paid player in the league, to go back and look at what NFL.com in particular wrote about him when he was entering the combine. They gave him a 5.57 grade that's priority undrafted free agent. They didn't take him seriously. No one did. The Niners took him with their last pick. So here's what Lance Zierlein wrote about Brock Purdy. Purdy is a burly pocket quarterback who needs a play-action-based offense where he can rely on timing over release quickness and arm strength. He can be a confident passer when he finds his rhythm, but throwing is more of a chore than a talent thanks to a labored release. Certain areas of the field will be off limits as he moves up to take on NFL coverage talent. He's a scrappy runner, but not dynamic enough to make up for his shortcomings as a passer. What do you think of that?
I think that was pretty much, that's one scouting report on him. I think they were all pretty much the same. I don't see the labored release. It's not as smooth as Jimmy Garoppolo's, but I don't see a labored release from Brock Purdy. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe it is a little longer, but it's not Colin Kaepernick.
That felt a little harsh.
Yeah. Trey Lance has more of a labored release than Brock Purdy.
That's true.
A lot of it is accurate. I think he's better as a runner than a lot of people anticipated, quicker. More than I ever, I didn't know a lot about Brock Purdy coming into the draft, but even after I saw him like rookie season in the preseason, I thought, hey, he's pretty quick, but he's become even better than that. I think he needs to learn when to use it and how to use it. Maybe he was using a little too much last season, but overall, it's not completely off. His arm talent is not an elite arm talent, so that part is, it's truthful. But I think he's better than a lot of people expected. So I don't, he's not a 7th round draft pick. So as far as their complete analyzation of Brock, I think they're wrong about that. He's more like a 3rd round, 2nd round quarterback.
Right. To me, their assessment of him is like overly negative in the sense that it's what they focus on is the negative. But the things they wrote aren't really wrong. Like he needs a play action based offense where he can rely on timing over release quickness and arm strength. Well, that's true. And fortunately for him, he landed in the perfect offense for that skill set. Really, even more than the Rams or Green Bay. Like, of all the play action based offenses, to me, the Niners is the one that requires the least amount of arm strength.
So that wasn't wrong.
The Packers want a guy with a big arm. The Rams want a guy with a big arm. The Niners don't really care. So I think it just underscores that he really did land in the perfect situation for him. And that doesn't take anything away from him, because Trey Lance was in the same situation and couldn't do the same things that Purdy did because it wasn't the right situation for him. Maybe no situation was the right situation for him. Purdy landed in the perfect situation. I think we got to remember that and keep that in mind when you look at all these other quarterbacks who didn't and are trying to figure it out.
Let's break it down line by line because I think you're right there. What was the next line of that report?
He says he can be a confident passer when he finds his rhythm. That's super true. But throwing is more of a chore than a talent thanks to a labored release. That's harsh. He says certain areas of the field will be off limits as he moves up to take on NFL coverage talent. I mean, he's not going outside the numbers very much. He's not going to beat you very often with go balls up the sideline. So that is true. And then when you say he's a scrappy runner, he is a scrappy runner, but not dynamic enough to make up for his shortcomings as a passer. I'd say he's not dynamic enough for the Niners to call actual runs for him. And it seems like his shortcomings as a passer have been covered up by the fact that he's in literally the perfect situation for him and for a lot of quarterbacks.
Well, his timing is great. His anticipation is great. So that makes up for some of that throwing, right? Like he actually, statistically, I believe he has the best go ball. That's the funny thing about Brock. Statistically, I think he's the best with the go ball, but it's based on timing, and it's not like it's not like he's throwing 45.
But like we've seen him throw that ball up the sideline. It usually is a little flat. It can be a little underthrown. Like even if he completes it, like a beautiful go ball usually has that high arcing trajectory, and the nose of the football comes down into the receiver's hands. And that's not exactly, I mean, Jimmy didn't have that either. I don't remember the last Niners quarterback who had that kind of a throw in their tool bag.
I mean, when we were at the training camp, when there was Trey Lance, Sam Darnold, Brock Purdy competing,
Trey had it.
Sam had it, right? Like
Darnold had it.
You could see a big difference between their arm talent of Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold, Trey Lance. Now, obviously, that doesn't necessarily translate to being a good quarterback in the NFL, particularly on the 49ers, because you're not going to use it that much. But yeah, I don't think they're wrong there as far as like the overall arm talent, because Trey Lance and Sam Darnold had that deep ball way better than Brock did. But obviously what they're missing here on this report is like the intangibles, the leadership, the intelligence of being able to understand this offense and figure out the timing and run it as good as anybody ever has under Kyle Shanahan. So those things were missing from this report, and that's what makes Brock good. But the things they talked about aren't very far off.
Yeah, and it's like when you look at Brock's 2023 compared to 2024, how could they be so different? How could he go from 12 wins to 6? How could he go from an MVP candidate to not in the playoffs, not in the Pro Bowl? Well, did he regress? Did the NFL catch up to him? Or did he go from being in the perfect situation to being in a very imperfect situation?
Yeah, I mean, and the thing about the wins and losses last season, it came down to a couple plays, one or two plays. It's not, they weren't getting blown out by a lot of teams. They were losing close ones. The Rams games, perfect examples, and just missed opportunities by the 49ers and Brock Purdy. And I think just not having a couple superstars out there made a little bit of a difference for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think it's instructive what you look at these quarterbacks coming out, Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, and you look at their tape and you try to think about who they remind you of, and you try to determine whether they're going to be successful or not. But I think what percentage of that is under their control, right? And what percentage of that is where they get drafted to, who their quarterback, who their coach is, who their offensive line is, who their surrounding weapons are. I mean, I think more than 50% is out of the quarterback's hands, because you look at a guy like Baker Mayfield, he's a good quarterback. He couldn't overcome the situations he was put into early in his career. Same with Alex Smith. There's so many examples of that.
100%. That's why I'm not big on quarterback wins and losses, right? Now there are opportunities like last year. I think Brock had a couple opportunities to win games that they lost. But overall, it's definitely a team situation and it's a coaching situation. I mean, who's the last good quarterback to come out of Cleveland? Has there ever been one?
Not since they had the new version of the Browns that started in 1999. It's never happened.
Yeah, right. Like what happened to Deshaun Watson when he went to Cleveland? Like he horrible.
He forgot how to play football.
He couldn't. He went from being very good to,
awful.
Scandals aside, So the team you're on definitely matters. Coaches can come there and change that. Obviously, like perfect example, the Bears. When's the last time the Bears had a great quarterback? Jay Cutler. Was that like that's the best that you can recall? Caleb Williams went there, ton of talent, struggled last year. Now maybe Ben Johnson changed that whole culture around and he starts to succeed. But this is a team sport. It's the ultimate team sport. 53 players, 11 on the field at a time. It is a team sport 100%. And so where you go means a lot. Jimmy Garoppolo's perfect example. After he leaves the Niners, he's not good at all. So I think, these are the conversations that we try to have here in regards to quarterbacks that a lot of people don't want to have.
Before we move on, these are the strengths and weaknesses for Purdy, according to Lance Zierlein as he was coming out of college. Strengths: 4-year starter and team leader. Check. Different quarterback when he finds his rhythm. Okay. Makes his way through progressions. Absolutely. Yeah. Strong hands allow for easy pump fakes to move defenders.
I don't know about that one. Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Yeah. Generally accurate passer between the numbers.
Yeah.
Confident throwing over linebackers and in front of safeties. That's a big one.
He's pretty good at it, actually.
That's a big one. That's why he's such a good fit on this team. Good toughness and anticipation as a runner.
Yeah.
Willing to dive to move the chains. Absolutely. Absolutely. Here's weaknesses. Pocket setup lacks quickness.
What?
He's super quick when he wants to be.
I don't understand that one.
I don't understand that one. That's nitpicky. Field blinders occasionally rob him of seeing the big play. I mean, yes. You can say about any quarterback. He's actually pretty good with his field vision, although he's just short.
He said himself he can only see the field 40% of the time. So
it's true. I don't know if his field blinders are just being my height. Delivery is labored. Man, Zierlein hates his release. Hates it.
What is so bad? I don't see that. I've heard people talk about that with Brock. Maybe I'm just not an expert enough at quarterback mechanics, but I don't see that with Brock. Jimmy had a great delivery. Trey's was wonky. Kaepernick's was wonky. I don't see it with Brock. It doesn't look as quick or smooth as Jimmy's, but it still doesn't look like an issue to me.
Yeah, it seems average to me. Like, it's not quick, but it's not elongated either. It's not labored, but it's not Dan Marino. I don't know. I think it's fine. Lacks timing to beat NFL corners outside the numbers. It's not a timing issue. It's an arm strength issue.
It's power. Yeah.
Yeah. Shies away from tight window throws. Does he? Maybe he should more often because he does some picks over the middle. Ball needs to come out sooner on deep ball shots. Yeah. Confidence and consistency have been issues. Huh. Haven't seen that.
Yeah, I don't agree with the deep ball one too. I think that's the only reason why he's succeeded with the deep ball at all, because it's not arm strength that gets the deep ball converted for him. It's the timing, getting the ball out quick and throwing it up there, letting his receivers run out under it. So I don't know if I agree with that one either.
All right, let's project Brock Purdy's stats for this season. 2023, his stats were off the chart. 2024, they weren't. Where do we think he's going to fall in 2025?
So I actually put the numbers together based on his per game averages.
Mm-hmm.
So according to his per game averages, Brock Purdy will throw for 4,045 yards at 67.3 completion percentage with 27 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. That's what, if you look at his averages, that's what he will do this year in 17 games. That's 4,045 yards, 27 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 67.3 completion percentage. You think he'll do better than that? Worse than that? About that? Is it good enough? What are your thoughts?
I would think that if he stays healthy for 16, 17 games, he will produce roughly those numbers. I think the 49ers passing game numbers are like some of the most easily projectable numbers in the NFL. Like, we've had 8-9 years of it. No matter who the quarterback is, it's going to be about 4,000 yards, about 10 to 13 picks, and 22 to 27 touchdown, maybe 30. I mean, that's essentially what the Kyle Shanahan offense produces. What's the funny thing about the Niners passing game is it doesn't really have anything to do with winning games. It loses games for them. But when they win, it's about their defense and running game. But this is very constant. It's very predictable. I think that's correct. My question with Purdy this year is more like, is he going to play the whole season? The offensive line got worse, supposedly so they could afford him. It wasn't good beforehand. He's gotten hurt a few times. He played through it desperately to get this contract. Now he's got to protect his investment, which is his body. I don't know. Can they keep him upright for 16 games, or are we looking at 8? from Brock Purdy. That's my only question really with him. I think if he plays the whole season, those are his numbers.
And the thing that scares me about that, like, I'm actually just finished the statistics class, actually, and the probabilities, right? The probability of him staying healthy for another season, because he's been injured, but his injuries have always come at the right time for him, or he's able to play through them. The probability of him missing some games due to injury, I think it's got to happen at some point. I would hope not, knock on wood. Tom Brady was able to stay healthy. Brock seems to take a lot more hits than the Tom Brady's of the world. So hopefully he stays healthy. My concern with these numbers, to me, if you look at the year when the 49ers went to the Super Bowl, 31 touchdowns versus last year, 20 touchdowns. And, if we look at his averages, he's supposed to get about 27 touchdowns. I think he needs to be up in the 30s if the 49ers really want to be competing for a Super Bowl. I think that's what was missing last year. Obviously, the red zone scoring was a problem. They didn't have Christian McCaffrey to just bail them out every time. So they got to be able to figure out a way to convert and actually score touchdowns, particularly in the red zone. And so I think Brock's going to need to improve upon his averages this coming season in order for the 49ers to really compete in the postseason.
Well, Ricky had 3 touchdown catches on 46 targets. So if he gets double the targets this year, 90 targets, maybe he gets 6 touchdown catches. Jennings had 6 last year. Kittle had 8. So I see what you mean. Like, just between those guys, if they only have like maybe 22 between them or 20 between those 3 guys, Kittle, Jennings, and Pearsall, where's the other 10 coming from? Well, the fullback.
Maybe BA steps up. Maybe. Why can't I think of his name? Demarcus Robinson contributes.
Maybe. But that's a good point. Like, for him to get 30 touchdown catches, someone's going to need to catch those passes. And who's going to be? Is it going to be Kittle at 32? He's going to have 10 touchdown catches this year? Or Jennings is going to go crazy? Or Pearsall's going to go crazy? Maybe not.
It could also just be Christian is healthy and Christian gets back to scoring touchdowns at a higher clip.
In 2023, he had 7 touchdown catches. So that's not insignificant, right? Let's say Christian goes from 0 to 7. That's 27 right there.
That's 27. Yeah,
that's 27 right there.
That would be his average.
So, yeah, that makes sense. They really need Christian to stay healthy, man.
Absolutely, and they need to increase targets to George Kittle and stop being stupid. That's one of the dumbest, most frustrating things about watching the 49ers offense. I think maybe the 2 most frustrating things about watching the 49ers offense is them just beating down Christian McCaffrey or whoever the running back is, just not being able to just switch guys in and out and running back by committee. And then the other one is just not targeting George Kittle in the red zone when he is easily top 5 targets in the NFL in the red zone. Makes no sense. So hopefully that's another thing they fix.
You know how many times George Kittle has led the Niners in targets?
In what, like a game, or are you talking about in the season?
In a season.
In targets? Mm-hmm. I would say 0.
Twice. 18
really?
and 19. Not since 2019. I don't understand that. He hasn't had 100 targets in a season since 2019. Like, this is one of the best tight ends in the history of the NFL. He is the 3rd leading receiver in the history of your franchise behind Rice and Owens. And Jawan Jennings is getting 20 more targets in a season than him. Like, no offense to Jawan Jennings, but what the fuck?
And I think the time that he did, 2018 was CJ Beathard, right? Am I tripping?
Yep.
That's a Beathard.
Yep. Then he comes back the next year and gets 107 targets in 2019. Like, there's seasons where Travis Kelce gets 150 and Tony Gonzalez, we get that all the time. You can't tell me those guys are that much better than Kittle. I mean, Kittle's in his prime right now. There's no one who can really cover him one-on-one.
It's the biggest crime that Kyle Shanahan is committing on this team right now. Like, target freaking George Kittle more. It's a no-brainer. He's a Hall of Famer. He's the best tight end that maybe the 49ers have ever had in the history of this team. He's top, I don't know if he's better than the best tight end right now in the NFL at this age, but he's up there, top 2 or 3. He's definitely one of the best red zone targets in the NFL. Makes absolutely no sense. They need to make sure that that's a focus this year.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, let's look ahead to week 1 in Seattle. I think this is a game that most Niner fans are expecting the Niners to win. They're going to be favored on the road in Seattle. It's Sam Darnold. Okay. Here's what's interesting about this game for me. One, the Seahawks defense was the best defense in the division last year. I mean, I don't know if Niner fans realize it, but Leonard Williams had like 11 sacks. Ernest Jones was really good at linebacker. Their secondary has a bunch of good players in it, and Mike McDonald is up there with Robert Saleh and the best defensive coaches in the league. In addition, they got Clint Kubiak as their offensive coordinator this offseason. He came from the Niners. He was there a couple of years ago when they had the best offense in like franchise history, one of them. Then he went to the Saints last year. The Saints were a disaster, but he did such a good job that he got another job with the Seahawks this year. The first 2 weeks of the season, the Saints, when they were relatively healthy, they scored 47 and 44. So I don't know that we necessarily can expect the Seahawks offense to just suck right away because they have a new coach. I think this is going to be an interesting game. What are you expecting from week one?
I do expect the defense to be stout for Seattle. Yeah, I feel like they're going to have a really good defense, and I don't think a lot of people are really just thinking about that at all, or they don't want to because it's Seattle. I'm not a big believer in Sam Darnold. The Kubiak attack should be better than what they had last year on offense. That part I would hope comes true, but I'm not a big Sam Darnold guy. And who are the receivers? They got rid of Metcalf, right? So
and Lockett. So they got Jackson Smith-Njigba, who was their leading receiver last year, had a hell of a season. And they traded, well, they didn't trade. They signed Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, but okay. Cooper Kupp, I don't know about at this point. I think Sam Darnold's going to find out quickly he doesn't have Justin Jefferson on his team or Jordan Addison, right? Like I think that's something that we will see. I'm not really scared of their offense if I'm being real with you, but defensively, I think they're going to be tough. So I think it's going to be more competitive than a lot of Niner fans think. And plus, it's an NFC West opponent. You never know what's going to happen in those games. Niners need to pull that one off and get off to an early start for the season to be successful, really. So I don't know. I just think it's going to be competitive. I do. I don't think it's going to be a blowout one way or the other.
It's an interesting matchup because really their passing game goes through Smith-Njigba. That's their number one receiver. They got rid of their other two guys. And Cooper Kupp, he's going to catch passes, but we saw him against the Niners last year. Like, he's kind of washed, and he's only going to play 12 games anyway. So it seems like the Niners, if they want, they can put Lenore on Smith-Njigba no matter where he goes, slot, outside, and that's a matchup the Niners got to feel great about. So that's a good start. I think with Clint Kubiak, just trying to figure out what this offense is going to look like with him. On the Saints last year, they didn't have a number one receiver. The guy that led them in targets was Alvin Kamara. I think we're going to see much more play action and passes to running backs than we've seen from this team. I don't think they're going to throw to wide receivers that much. I think it's going to be more like dump offs to Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker.
Yeah.
It's going to be different. And one other thing about Kubiak, that awful Saints team was number one in scoring percentage on goal-to-go situations, which the Niners weren't so great in last year. So if the Niners don't get like the turnover advantage in this game, and it just comes down to who finishes more drives, again, that's scary.
It's weird. I feel like it almost, and we have a ton of rookies on defense, but I almost feel like the defense has an advantage over the Seahawks offense, but I feel like the Seahawks defense has the advantage of the 49ers defense, if that makes sense. Did I say that right?
No.
Seahawks defense has the advantage over the 49ers offense. 49ers defense has the advantage over Seahawks defense. So I think it's going to be a good matchup. I think it's going to be a battle, and could come down to just a couple plays, coaching, special teams, something like that. But the Seahawks moving on from – look, I don't know if the Seahawks are going to be better with Sam Darnold than they were with Geno Smith. But against the Niners, Geno Smith was so nervous when he had to play Nick Bosa. I don't know what it is. I've never said this about any player ever. But you could literally see Geno scared of Nick Bosa. Whenever Nick Bosa was close to him, he was like he panicked. I don't know where it comes from, what it is. But them not having that, I don't know. I don't know if Sam Darnold has that same fear. But there's something about Sam Darnold I just don't worry about.
That's fair. But this, like, I agree with you on Geno. And with DK, it seemed like he always would like get in a fight with someone in a Niner game. He would always lose his cool. In the game in Seattle, he ran the wrong route, the pass got intercepted, I think by Bernardo Green, simply because he freelanced, the pass was in the right spot. So I think there's a reason they got rid of him. I think that they're gonna be tough with their running game. Like, this is gonna be a whole different offense. In the past with Geno, he would be in the shotgun all the time. When they tried to run the ball, they sucked at it. Their offensive line sucked. That was their offense. Now they just spent their first round pick on Gray's Able, that guard. He's going to be a big upgrade for them. And with Darnold, they're not going to be a drop back passing team. With Kubiak, that's not a drop back passing scheme. It's the Niners. So they're going to run the ball a lot and do play action. And so that's a big reason I think the Niners try to address their run defense this year. Like, week one, not just week one, but week one, you're going to face a team that you know is going to run the ball a lot. The Niners couldn't stop touchdown runs last year. Like, teams would just run right through them. They gave up 24 touchdown carries last year. It's disgusting. Yeah. If they haven't improved that, then they're going to lose that way to the Seahawks week one. Just Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet running for touchdowns when they're close. So hopefully CJ West, Michael Williams, Alfred Collins, all healthy and ready to go week one. That's going to be so huge.
Yeah, I mean, and then the 49ers, if you look at them, they're going to have 3 new players on that D-line starting, most likely. They're going to have at least 1 new linebacker starting for Devondre Campbell. So that's a whole new front 7, essentially, outside of Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. So it's going to be different. And then you got Robert Saleh calling the plays. It's so unknown. That's why I'm excited about this season. There's so many unknowns. Like, are the 49ers going to be able to put it together? But if I had to, just thinking about it right now, I really believe, even though this team is young defensively, I think Robert Saleh is going to get them ready. And I don't worry about Seahawks offense. I'm more worried about that defense. Their head coach was he was running the Ravens defense that gave Brock Purdy nightmares. And now he's 2 years into it. That is my worry. The 49ers offense versus their defense. Which is weird because we're such a young defense. I just don't worry about the defense. I'm worried about our offense. Can we score? Is Brock Purdy going to throw a bunch of interceptions against this defense? How are we going to look on the offensive side? That's my worry.
That's interesting, yeah. Because that like, really, we're looking at it like Clint Kubiak could be a big upgrade over Ryan Grubb, who's gone. But still, I mean, how scared are you of Sam Darnold and Cooper Kupp? Not particularly. No. It's that defense. The defense is the Seahawks are hoping their offense is good enough. It'll be a complimentary Kyle Shanahan run the ball, play action offense, and hopefully Sam Darnold doesn't freaking blow it. That's the thing with, like, he could just throw picks that day or get sacked 7 times. Who knows? But
they're basically the Niners with Jimmy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're the 2019 49ers. That's what they want to be.
Pretty much. Their defense is going to be interesting. They did a really good job against the Niners last time at Levi Stadium and held them to 17 points. I'm sure there were some drops or missed field goals in there as well, but it's tough defense, and it just got better with their first-round pick. What was it? Second-round pick, Nick Amenwari. They're going to try to turn him into their Kyle Hamilton. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, and then who's the quarterback they drafted this year too?
Jalen Milroe, baby.
They would probably have more success with the Niners. Would probably struggle more against Milroe than they would against Sam Darnold. But
yeah, Niners got to be happy that Milroe isn't going to be ready for week 1.
Yeah.
All right, let's play some more fewer. But I don't know. Oh, where'd you go? There you are. I don't know exactly. Like, let's go Niners. Let's go NFL, because NBA's done, and the Giants aren't playing today, I don't think. So let's start with Purdy, if we can find him. There he is. 38, 24.5 passing yards, more or less. You think he's going to get to 4,000 this year?
If he stays healthy, I'm going to say more. Is he going to stay healthy?
I feel like he's got the curse, though. The curse of just signing a contract extension with the 49ers. I feel like every time a player who's on the Niners signs an extension to stay with the 49ers, their upcoming season just falls short of expectations.
I bet a decent amount of money that he was going to go over last year, and he did not. So, you know what?
Let's go less.
Got to go less.
And it's not personal. It's just trying to be right. Who the hell is Jack Fox? What? All right, Geno, 3,600, 49.5 passing yards with the Raiders.
I'm gonna say more, man.
Say more.
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel like they're gonna be explosive. Him and his tight end.
All right. Justin Herbert, year 2 with Jim Harbaugh, 3,649.5, more or less.
Definitely less because Trey Lance is gonna take over by week 5. No, I would say
Obvious.
I would say more, man.
More. Okay.
I feel like this is the year that defines Justin Herbert, so he's got to.
Yeah, he's on my fantasy team. I need it. Sam Darnold, 3,474.5 passing yards. I mean, is he even going to keep the job?
It's pretty a low bar right there. I would say more.
It's a low bar. I say more. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Baker, Jalen, Prescott, Kyler, Burrow, Jaden Daniels, Aaron Rodgers. Let's finish up with Aaron Rodgers. 3,250.5 for Aaron Rodgers, more or less.
If he stays healthy, that'll be a cakewalk for Aaron Rodgers. People don't realize the last 7 games of Aaron Rodgers statistically were very good last year.
I don't realize. You know why?
Why? You don't care.
Who cares? We care now, though, for Prize Picks. Yeah. These are our picks, and we were really enthusiastic and hopeful and optimistic about everyone except Brock Purdy. And I don't know how that worked out because we're usually Brock's biggest supporters and boosters, but that's just the way it is today. We're submitting the lineup. Download the app yourself. Use promo code COHN. Get play 5. Get 50 instantly in lineups. All right. No, that's the right banner. All right. Let me ask you something. $46 million in cap space. I didn't expect the Niners to have this. It seemed like they got rid of all these players because they were anticipating not having cap space. They tried to get back Dre Greenlaw, but they couldn't quite swing it. Now you have all this money. I mean, Brock Purdy's contract is backloaded for some reason. He's cheap now. Trent Williams is still on the team. Hasn't retired. Do you think that this is an opportunity for them to like actually go for it and win the Super Bowl this year? Or do you think they're being smart, just playing it cautious and not making any big moves?
Playing it cautious. If you got money, spend it, man. Like, what are we doing here? Like, Jalen Ramsey's sitting out there, and you have some question marks at corner to me, outside of Yamada Lenore and Ronaldo Green. And Ronaldo Green's a second-year player. Who knows what he's going to look like? You can't really judge a player off their rookie season and just like that's who that guy is. There's sophomore slumps. But beyond that, like, who's your third corner on this team? So, I mean, you go get Jalen Ramsey, and you have Jalen Ramsey, Diamond Lenore, and Ronaldo Green. That's an amazing corner room. They need to do that, in my opinion.
Yeah, it seems to me like a team that expects to be in the mix for a Super Bowl is not done with their roster right now. And we've seen the Niners make moves late into the offseason before. I mean, it just doesn't feel like you can't say that you really sincerely expect to be in the mix for a Super Bowl when you have this much cap space you're not using. The 2 teams with the most cap space this year are the Patriots and the 49ers. The Patriots are definitely not in the mix. I mean, if they were to be in the mix, they'd be a year ahead of schedule and they'd figure it out the year after in terms of spending. But the Niners, I just don't understand. If this is how you want to approach it and play for the future, why are there so many old players on this team? You could trade them, get more assets, and be even better set up for the future if that's what you wanted to do. Kind of reminds me of the Warriors with their 2 timeline. This is a 2 timeline situation, Ryan.
I've been saying this for a long time about the Niners. It's like they're wishy-washy. They're not convicted. They have no conviction. I'll use that instead of the convict. They have no conviction of what direction they're going. It's kind of like they're trying. It's a balancing act. The only thing what they're doing to me, the only reason it makes sense is if it's just business for them. If it's just business, you got your big star players that'll sell tickets and sell jerseys. But if you're trying to win a Super Bowl, you have a ton of money. Do what you did with your soccer team and invest and pull in as many great players as you can. They'll make this roster better.
Yeah, and I think what's a bad look about this is over the next few months, 49ers enterprises will be spending lots of money on transfer fees to bring in players to Leeds United. Players who aren't on Leeds United, they're going to be coming to Leeds United so that they can have the best chance possible to not get relegated again in a year. And I think it's going to be a bad look when the Niners have all this cap space that they're going to roll over to 2026 when they're sparing no expense in leads where no Niner fan could even pick out Leeds in a map. If I said, show me on a map where the city of Leeds is, Niner fans would be like, nope, can't do that. Plus, there's another team, Rangers FC in Scotland, the Niners own. They're going to probably be bringing in players for that one too. So I think to me, it looks like they spent just enough on their football team this offseason to cover their rear ends for criticism.
I didn't even know Leeds was a city. So that's how how far away I am from it.
Yep.
Yeah, it just doesn't make – just do it, man. Like, I feel like Jalen Ramsey – let me ask you this. What would help a young defensive line more than adding a Jalen Ramsey to this defensive back unit? There's not much that's going to help a young defensive line in an amazing cornerback room. So if you add Jalen Ramsey to the mix with Diamador Lenore and Renardo Green, I think you got a stacked corner room, and that's going to help these young defensive linemen get off and buy them time. I think that is like a no-brainer move that they should be making right now.
Remember what Richard Sherman did for this defense? He was coming off an Achilles tear. He was 30. Jalen Ramsey's the same age. He didn't tear his Achilles. I mean, he played 17 games last year. He had a much higher PFF grade than any other member of the 49ers secondary. So is he the player he used to be? No, but he'd still be the best player in the Niners secondary, probably, him or Diamador Lenore. He'd make the team better. He'd be a leader. But he's expensive. And I think that's even better. Like, that means there's really not as much of a market for him. You have to take on $21 million in guaranteed money for this year. Maybe the Rams can't do that. Maybe the Chargers can't do that. That's an opportunity for you because you created all this cap space and you're so rich. You know, you got all this money, spend it. You could be the hero here, Jed. You do that. Now you're Eddie DeBartolo. That's what Eddie would do. What would Buster Posey do?
Can we, real quick, Ian is just in the chat is just being ridiculous, using words he should not be using in the chat.
Ian's out. Ian's out.
I just like, this is the year the 49ers are going to the like they're hosting the Super Bowl. Like, Brock Purdy is cheap this year. I just don't understand it. And maybe it's something they do. Maybe they're waiting to see what happens in training camp. Maybe they have plans. But right now, it is a little frustrating having all this salary cap go to waste.
Yeah. So, we got to talk directly to Jed about this one. Jed, how many times have we heard you talk about the only difference between you and your Uncle Eddie is that Eddie didn't have a salary cap? How many times has he said that? Right. He says it every time he's in front of the media. Hey, man, well, only reason we got these tough situations is because Eddie spent so much that now there's a salary cap. They put in a salary cap because of Eddie. And that's why Eddie is this legend, because he could spend so much. All right, man. Well, you got $46 million in cap space. You think Eddie DeBartolo wouldn't spend that money? I know he would.
That's a great point. It's a great point. I'm limited because I have a salary cap, so that's why I can't do what my Uncle Eddie did. But now you're $46 million underneath, and you're not even using it. It's a hell of a point there, Grant.
Thank you. Yeah. And the thing about this to me is, like, I feel for Kyle and John because it doesn't feel like they came out this offseason and were like, look, this is our vision for the future of our team, getting younger and cheaper. It seems like what John said is like, hey, we got the bad news. I had to tell Kyle. He didn't take it so well. We're doing the best we can. It's not ideal. But we're not going to badmouth our employers because they're our employers and they have been, generous in the past. And hopefully this is just a one-off year, but it really sucks. And I feel for them on that because it does really suck. And it's really the wrong year to do this for all the reasons we just stated.
Yeah, man. I mean, if I'm the owner of the 49ers, I'm going all in as much as I can every year, as long as it's not hurting me for the future. And having the second most salary cap in the NFL and not using it when you're hosting a Super Bowl, Brock Purdy's cheap. You have a good team. Like this team is really, it's better than I thought they were going to be coming into the season. They could just make one or two more moves to go all in and push it all the way. And I just don't understand why they haven't yet. Now maybe it's something that they get done over the next couple of months.
Dave Barclay says, it's my birthday editing Jeep trip from yesterday. Happy birthday, Dave Barclay.
Happy birthday, dude.
Happy birthday, dude. Official BNA Music 88 says back flipping by Casey Veggies, YG, and I Am Sue. I feel stupid that I didn't know this reference. I need my chicken before I even think about walking through. I did know it was walk, though, and I had a feeling it was chicken and not cock. I had a feeling. Cock-a-doodle rooster. Sorry. That was the word. I was like going back and forth on that one. It's a bop on Hood. I feel like I Am Sue was more like better like 10, 15 years ago. But I like him still.
I'm lost on these young rappers.
Oh, he's from Vallejo.
Who?
You know that? I Am Sue? He was like with the HBK gang. You don't know about the HBK gang?
I know the whole crew. I don't know them individually.
Oh, he's one of them. Yeah. Okay. Corey Coleman says, as a Seahawks fan, what is Ryan's thoughts on the week 1 matchup? We did that. Niners are the 2015 Seahawks, an aging superstar roster. They got 2 hurt and finally paying your diamond in the rough quarterback. That's interesting from a Seahawks fan.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I know it's going to be a good matchup. I don't think it's going to be a blowout either way. So I do respect the Seahawks defense. I'm not scared of your offense yet. You're going to have to show me that they're worthy of worrying about.
Watch the Niners go into Seattle, stomp them, and then the following week lose in New Orleans. That would be what the Niners would do.
Yeah.
That's the Niners style.
It's a very
point and then totally take your foot off the gas week 2.
I love like coming into a season like this and just with so many questions, like with all these rookies, like what is it going to look like? The whole special teams is different, like outside of Jake Moody. But I just love coming into a season where I can't predict.
I know exactly what's going to happen week 1. The Niners are going to win by 20. Kyle Juszczyk's going to score 2 touchdowns after the game. He's going to taunt all the people who questioned the 49ers and said, we look like we're back to 49ers football. The following week, they're going to lose to Tyler Shough in New Orleans. People are going to freak out. That's how the Niners whirl, dude. I understand. That's what they did last year. Smoked the Jets. Everyone was like, oh, they didn't even need Christian McCaffrey. This team's incredible. Smacked by the Vikings. Smacked by the Rams.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. They could also be just ridiculously good.
I think they might be. I just changed my mind instantly. They're going to be great. Justin says, wish we went for Javon Holland and Jair Alexander.
Jalen's still out there, man.
I don't understand why they let all those players leave if they had all this contract. Like, you could have kept Greenlaw. You wanted to. You went to his house. You begged him to stay, man. You know what you could have done? Offer him more money. Or
is there an advantage for rolling this over?
Yeah, for 2026.
So explain to me how it works. I'm not a big salary cap.
It gives them more cap space next year, which is great for next year. Love that for next year. What about 2025 though? Yeah. I mean, because in 2026, you'll have the cap space, but you'll also have an older Trent Williams, an older Christian McCaffrey, an older George Kittle. I mean, you don't know what you're going to get from them.
You're not hosting the Super Bowl.
No. And your schedule is going to be tougher because you're going to be good this year, right?
Makes sense, man.
I'm just saying. Dave Barkley says, you better watch Jeep Trip, Grant. It was incredible. Have you seen it yet? It's not out yet. He's editing it. All right. I will watch it for you. We're kind of running out of time. Do you want to do the all quarter century team or do you want to talk about the Warriors?
I just have two questions for you on your quarter century team.
Sure.
Okay. How did you base the list? Was it off of the peak?
Vibes. No, I can't say peak. I want to say like if someone had prolonged success with the team, I gave them the nod over someone that had 1 great year or 2 great years. And if someone had 3 great years, I gave them the nod over someone who had 1 or 2. So I was trying to get like, yes, your peak, but if your peak was longer than someone else's peak, I'll give you credit, even if that person's 1-year peak was super special. So I went with like Gore over McCaffrey for that reason, even though Gore was never the offensive player of the year.
But what about Debo?
Debo to me, he had 2021, but I also think he was really good in 2019 and 2023. So I gave him 1 great year, 2 very good years. And then Crabtree, I thought was like kind of in that same realm where he had like 2 or 3 really good years. I just thought like Debo had an explosiveness where he could take plays to the house that Crabtree didn't really have. And that's, but if we were going 3 receiver sets, you already know who's in the slot for me. Already know.
What about Anquan?
He was really good too, man.
And here, let me pose this one to you. At their peaks,
Anquan had 2 really good years with the Niners. His 3rd year, he was old. But his first 2 years with the Niners, he was so good.
hella good.
He was so good.
Let me pose this one to you. If that team that you posted, all in their prime, played the same team but with Christian in his prime, Anquan in his prime, and Colin Kaepernick in his prime, who would win?
That's a good question. It's a good question, man.
If it was a prime list, would you do things different? You'd have
Well,
CMC.
my team's got Prime Garcia, Prime Gore, Prime Owens. It's pretty good.
Well, I'm leaving Owens, but I might throw in Anquan or Crabtree. And the thing about Debo, according to him, he's not even a wide receiver.
It's true.
He's a wide back.
It's true.
If it comes to like, hey, I need you to run a route, get open, and catch it, I'd rather have Crabtree. I'd rather have Bolden. You know,
I'd rather have Ronnie Bell. No, that's a stretch. But
right.
I'd rather have a wide receiver. That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Those are my only complaints. I think everything else is right there. The corners. I think you can make arguments for certain players, but I think overall it was a good list.
The reason I went with Garcia, to me, is like, yeah, you could say Kaepernick had the best peak or that Purdy had the best peak. I feel like Purdy, Cap, and Jimmy kind of are similar in the sense that they all went to a Super Bowl. They all lost. They all had great defenses. They all had 1 or 2 really good years. And with Purdy, we'll see if he has more than that. But with Garcia, he had 3 Pro Bowls in a row. He had the 24-point comeback in the playoffs. He never had a great defense. I think he's accomplished more than those guys did. And he had more like consistency and longevity. But 3 years is only 3 years, and Purdy could definitely pass him.
Well,
and I was a fan of the Niners when Jeff Garcia was like, it's like nostalgia.
Well, I know you're a Garcia guy.
I am a Garcia guy. I love Garcia.
Yeah. But
Bill Walsh picked, he's like Bill Walsh's last hand-picked quarterback. I mean, come on.
Here's the difference I'm going to say, though. Jimmy brought Cap. They all went to a Super Bowl and lost, but only one of those quarterbacks carried their team through the playoffs. Colin Kaepernick. He did.
Kaepernick was on an incredible playoff run until that NFC Championship game against Seattle. And once again, in that game, he was carrying the offense. He was the offense. And then I think he threw like 3 picks, including the last final one. And I never think he was – I don't think he was ever the same after Richard Sherman did that to him at the very end. I don't think the Niners were ever really the same after that. It took him years to recover from Richard Sherman.
Yeah.
Doing that, saying that. That was incredible, man.
Sorry, I
ended that franchise.
Remember Richard Sherman saying that?
That's what's going to happen. That's what you're going to get.
That was
the best thing Richard Sherman ever did.
That was so embarrassing for me. I was embarrassed for the 49ers when Sherman was on TV talking about sorry-ass Crabtree.
Yeah. So was Crabtree. So was Kaepernick. Last thing. So the NBA Finals is over. It's anticlimactic. The Thunder won, but there's so many players that got injured in the playoffs that it kind of feels like an asterisk. Like Curry was hurt and Lillard and Tatum, and then Halliburton went down. I mean, all respect to the Thunder, but my question to you is, like, are you expecting them to just sort of win again next year? And is this their league going forward, or is it open? Do you think the Warriors have an opportunity next year?
Depends on what they do, man. They still haven't done anything. I don't even know what this team's going to look like. You know, do they believe in Kuminga or not? Part of me thinks they're going to move on from Kuminga. He may just not be a good fit. I think Kuminga's got a ton of talent, but he wants to do his own thing, kind of. And I don't know if he's ever going to fit in cohesively with this offense and just be okay with, supporting Steph Curry, acknowledging this is Steph Curry's team. He doesn't seem to be willing to do that. Jordan Poole wasn't willing to do that, and he was moved quickly. Depends on what they do. They need a stretch big. They've been needing a stretch big for a long time. They need another scorer on offense, and it's not Jimmy Butler. I don't know. It just depends on what they do this offseason. They got to make some moves, man. If it's the same team, I don't have a ton of high expectations.
What do you think of the Rockets now that they got Kevin Durant? I mean, the Warriors beat him. I almost said the Niners. The Warriors beat him. It was a tough series. I don't know if the Warriors win that series if they had Durant instead of Jalen Green, who did a bunch of nothing in that series.
I mean, they lost Dylan Brooks. Who cares? They lost Jalen Green, who's their young hopeful. But what you lose with Jalen Green, you gain tenfold adding Kevin Durant. So they're going to be a better team.
Durant, Şengün, and Amen Thompson is a nice trio.
Amen is nice, dude. He's one of my favorite young players in the NBA. So he can learn a lot from Kevin Durant. I think what they
so
need,
much
though,
better than Kuminga, man.
he is. What they need, though, is even though I do not like Dylan Brooks, he is a chippy, scrappy defender who does give people a hard time. So I feel like they might be missing a little bit there on defense, but offensively, they're going to be much better. They're going to be dangerous offensively.
I think they got to make a move. I don't think the Kuminga thing works. I think he's a bad fit with Curry. Curry's going to be here for a while. I think with Curry, you either need to be good at shooting or passing. You either need to be available for Curry when he passes you the ball to shoot, or be able to pass the ball to Curry so he can shoot. Kuminga doesn't really do either of those things. Like, you pass it to him, he's going to put his head down and drive. And if he has the ball, he's going to put his head down and drive, which you need sometimes, but it's not what the Warriors are really looking for. I would imagine they're going to trade him at the deadline. They'll give it a shot. Maybe they'll try to pump up his numbers, pump up his trade value a little bit, make it seem like they like him when they don't, and then trade him.
It'd be a sign and trade situation with Kuminga, I think, is what happens. What's crazy?
Is he a free agent?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is right now.
I shouldn't talk about basketball anymore because I don't really know anything about it.
well, you're good at talking basketball. What's crazy about the Kuminga situation is I remember the exact point when Kuminga was toast in Golden State. They were swinging the ball around. Curry was wide open. Kuminga didn't even look. Like, Curry was wide open. All he had to do was swing the ball one more time. He didn't even look. He just started ISO, and Curry went like this and turned around out in disgust. And he didn't. That's when he stopped playing. He stopped playing altogether at that point. So I don't know. I'm not hopeful that. I don't think there's a big chance. I think Kuminga's talented, and if he went to the right place, he'd probably score a lot of points. I just don't know if he's a good fit for the Warriors.
He doesn't want to be a role player. They need to be a role player. He gets the ball and he wants to be like the leading scorer on the team. They need him to be like Sean Marion. No. Actually, remember when the Warriors first started winning championships and they went to that death lineup and the power forward was Harrison Barnes?
Yeah.
He could be such a better version of that player. Harrison Barnes all of a sudden understood, I'm not that good. I'll be a role player. I can jump out of the gym. I can rebound well enough to be a power forward, and I can hit some threes. If he could just do that with the occasional back cut and stuff and actually like lock in and play good defense, he'd be such a valuable player to this team, but he doesn't want to do it, or he can't do it. I don't know.
He needs to be a young Wiggins. Yeah. But I don't. He wants.
Wiggins would have games where he'd have like 15 rebounds out of nowhere. Like, yeah, because you're that athlete. I think Kuminga could do that too, but he doesn't.
Yeah, that's not. And he's young, and maybe they'll get through to him. But I just don't have a good feeling that that's going to happen. I think they'll sign and trade.
All right, let's get out of here. Dave Barkley says Ryan has seen some other trips, but this one, cheap trip. I can't wait to watch it. William Engelman says, where does Frank Gore rank for you all-time running back?
I love Frank Gore. I love everything about him. His toughness and longevity is what makes him great. As far as like peak Frank Gore, like how great was he? I don't have him that high, if I'm being honest. His career is one of the best ever, and I love him. I love his toughness. I love his press conferences, even though he was just like, I love everything about Frank Gore. He's one of my favorite Niners of all time. But as far as like total talent, peak running back, I mean, he's not in my top 10.
Let me ask you this. Where would you rank Emmitt Smith all time?
Man, running back is so hard. I mean, there are 50 amazing running backs in the history of this league. So, I mean, that's I couldn't just throw out.
Emmitt Smith is the all-time leading rusher in the NFL. Where would you rank him? You watched him play.
Even though he's the leading rusher in the NFL, he's still not probably in my top 10 talent-wise.
I would agree. But to me, I think he's probably in the top 20. And I think in terms of like skill set, I think Frank Gore had everything Emmitt Smith had. And the difference with that, Emmitt Smith was on one of the best teams of all time with maybe the best offensive line of all time. And Frank Gore was on a ridiculous team until he was about 28. But he did play for Norv Turner 1 year and went for like 2,100 yards from scrimmage.
If you're talking about peak talent, I mean, just on the Niners, let's talk about the Niners. I like Roger Craig better. I like Christian McCaffrey better. I like Ricky Waters better. I hate to say it, just on like their peak.
Well, like in terms of like the complete package, Ricky Waters, Craig, and McCaffrey are all much better receivers than Gore. But when it comes to like pure running the ball, I think he's probably the best runner in franchise history. Just running the ball.
The best career, no doubt. Man, Ricky, I don't know. I look something about like what I love about Frank, man. You give him the ball, he's not going to lose yards. He's going to turn 2 yards into 4 yards, but he's not like a big play breakaway kind of guy, which makes him less exciting. But if you love the game, you respect him for what he did and just the longevity of his career. Love Frank Gore. I don't like having to criticize him at all, but I mean, peak Ricky Waters, peak Christian McCaffrey, peak Roger Craig, to me are all better.
Peak Frank. Dude, Frank Gore was on some awful teams. As a 23-year-old in 06, he ran for 1,695 yards and 8 touchdowns on a team that
he was the offense
sucked.
He was
the offense, dude. I mean, it's tough. That's a tough position for a running back to be in. Like, it's not like there was anything sophisticated going on with those Niners offenses. It was like, give the ball to Frank.
Yeah.
Give the ball to Frank. Give it to him again. Give it to him again. So he was never going to have like special numbers because there was 9 people in the box and there was absolutely no one to hurt you over the top other than Vernon Davis.
He's so reliable, so consistent. Nothing but respect for Frank Gore, man. I've outside of the 90s teams, I've only bought 2 jerseys. One was Frank Gore's, one was Patrick Willis. So that's how much I like him. But
what sucks for Gore is that Pete Gore was before Harbaugh. Pete Gore was on bad teams. I think the Gore we remember the most is the Gore on the Harbaugh teams when they were winning. And that was like, he was a little slower at that, but he was still good. But Pete Gore, I mean, when he was young, even though he wasn't fast, he had long runs. He had an 80-yard run in 2009. He had a 72-yard run in 2007. I mean, he was pretty explosive. And then he wasn't as much anymore, but the longevity was there. But yeah, Pete Gore, it's kind of wasted. Some shitty teams. Played with Sean Hill.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Too bad. What could have been. Anyway, it's time for me to I don't know, do something else. This has been a great show. Thank you.
Yeah. Just getting over the sickness. Sorry for the coffee in here.
Yeah, it's all right. You look good though. It's a nice City Connect hat you got.
Yeah, my kid got me this for Father's Day, man.
Flexing that you have children. That's incredible.
I have at least 4 that I know about.
Next, let's talk about Giants next time, dude. They're getting real interesting.
Yeah, man, I'm down. I'm actually watching baseball now, which is fun.
Yeah, me too. God, I'm mad at Farhan, man. You made me almost give up on the sport of baseball.
Shout out to Buster Posey, dude. Turned it around quick.
Buster.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. He's instantly more interesting than John Lynch. You got to talk to your owner. You get shown up by Buster Posey, man. Trade for Jalen Ramsey.
Not a buster at all. Not a buster at all.
Not a buster, dude. Not a buster. No. Ryan, thank you. William, Dave, everyone in the chat, thank you. See you guys.